Have you heard this saying in educational circles? It's not the tool, it's how you use it. I'm sure you have at least a dozen times. The strength of technology in learning is dependent on its skillful use. Technology amplifies all practices, both good and bad. It can complement instruction by making learning visible. However, it's educators who leverage technology to make learning connected and meaningful that have a higher positive impact. So, how do you go about truly thinking through the effectiveness of how you integrate technology into the learning environments that you design? One way to navigate the practice of thoughtful technology integration is to frame your planning and reflection with the SAMR model. If you're unfamiliar with the SAMR model, it's an acronym for substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. This model of technology integration was developed by Dr. Ruben Pentadura, who began researching this topic because he wanted to ensure that the use of technology enhanced teaching practice. SAMR is a framework that helps educators be more intentional in integrating technology. In this video, we will explore how the use of the SAMR model and Bloom's taxonomy can provide a strong foundation for the intentional application of Canvas that supports instruction in a way that adds value to student learning. We'll look closely at the 4 levels of SAMR model: substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. We will focus on substitution. Substitution is just what it sounds like. It represents the same activity you would do in a regular face-to-face classroom in a digital realm. Instead of students filling out the answers on a paper worksheet, they are typing their answers into an online worksheet. Substitution does not change or modify the lesson's original intent. It simply allows the activity to be done in a digital environment. How does substitution impact learning? Even simple substitution can have a major impact on teaching and learning. As we all experienced in 2020 and 2021, there are times where students must learn remotely. Substitution allows students to continue the same work they would do in a classroom seat at home on the family computer. It can also provide additional support for some students without additional modifications. Let's take an example of a discussion that you would have in a traditional face-to-face classroom. Usually during classroom discussions, the instructor will first lecture for a certain amount of time. After the lecture ends, the instructor asks students questions requiring them to answer with the concrete examples and reflect on their understanding of the topic. Using the Canvas discussion tool is just not a tool for remote learners, but also can be used for your face-to-face students. By integrating the Canvas discussion forum into your classroom, it provides an opportunity for students to continue the discussion outside the classroom. The discussions in Canvas do not have to replace the face-to-face conversations that take place in the classroom, but they can help augment in other forms of instruction and give students a chance to communicate their ideas, to build community with their peers, and to reflect on the readings and lectures assigned to the class. The Canvas discussion tool provides both focused discussions and threaded discussions. Focused discussions are typically used in the situation where the goal is for the student to respond to a prompt generated by the instructor. Threaded discussions are used where the goal is to encourage more student-to-student interaction. Discussions can be set up for an entire class or for a small group, and can be either graded or ungraded. The goal with substitution here is to keep things simple. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. On the surface, substitution tools do not appear to significantly shift the nature of learning, but digitally documenting a student's inquiries through substitution tools makes learning visible and provides formative feedback. In conclusion, consider how technology can be used not just as a way to deliver content, but also to strengthen relationships with your students. The SAMR model is a toolbox. The goal isn't to use the most sophisticated tool, but to find the right one for the job. When you're designing your course, think of these questions. How can my lesson be improved using technology? How can I engage and empower students through technology? And lastly, how can online learning most closely resemble authentic real-world learning?